Right now, we do have Craig Button, who joins us from overseas. It's brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. Gear up for game day with the Oilers Adidas jerseys with on-ice name and number sewing. Visit them today in Edmonton at the corner of 128th Ave and St. Albert Trail, or online at proamsports.ca. Oilers win a series, buy a jersey. Oilers win another series, buy a jersey. Also go in there and get your car flags as well. All right, let's bring in Mr. Button this morning. Craig, good afternoon where you are. What's going on? Where are you right now?
I'm in Helsinki, Finland. Yeah, I'm here for the Under-18 Championship. You're right. It's 4:03, 4:04 here in Helsinki. And it's like what I would say, it's like a June Edmonton day. Sun's up at about 4:20 in the morning. Sun doesn't go down till about 10 at night. And it's just extending with each day. So it's nice. The weather's been really nice, and it's worked out really, really, really well. And you talk about jerseys. I don't know if I've told you this. So my son-in-law, huge Oilers fan.
Okay.
My daughter, huge Flames fan.
Oh,
but my granddaughter, who's going to be 6 months here, coming up in a few days, he's got her on the Oilers bandwagon. He's got her she's already got an Oilers jersey. She's had her first Oilers jersey at 3 months or 4 months, I guess. 4 months. She's already in an Oilers jersey. So Oilers win, buy a jersey. Oilers win another round, buy a jersey.
Only at Pro-Am Sports. Good job, Craig. Hey, before we get to some NHL stuff, quickly on the U18s, who's moving the needle? Who are some names that are moving the needle right now?
Well, I mean, the star here is Gavin McKenna. I mean, he plays in Medicine Hat. He's not eligible for the draft until 2026. Oh, he's unbelievable, Dustin. Here's the problem. And it's going to affect you, I think, in a way that, I don't think he'll be at the Halinka. And he should be, because that's the 2007 born. So you'd be able to sit up. I think he'll be at Canada's World Junior Camp. He's just too good. He's such an elite player. He turns 17 in December. So you watch this player play. And I said it and I joked about it. If there's a better player available for the 2026 draft, just tell me where that player is. I'll get on my unicycle. And at the same time I'm riding my unicycle, I'll juggle. Because whoever is better than McKenna is going to be one special player.
Oh, wow. Another one to get excited about, eh? Unbelievable. Right here in Alberta, too, as Craig said, in Medicine Hat. The Oilers look to finish off the Kings tonight. And, Craig, Colorado gets it now. They beat Winnipeg. They get some time off. How big is rest early in the playoffs for a team that could eventually go and win it? Like, do you want that, especially if Vancouver, Nashville go 7? Or how do you weigh that?
Oh, well, for sure you want it. When you can put a team away, and how many times have we heard this over the course of time? The hardest game to win is the clinching game. It's hard. You got a team on the other side that's doing everything they can, scratching and clawing to try to keep their season alive. So to close out a team is hard. And it doesn't become any easier as you get to another elimination game, because they get more life and they feel, hey, listen, we faced an elimination game. We've been successful. So it does become harder and it taxes you. I also think there's an importance to winning a clinching game on home ice. It saves you from having to travel again. So for the Edmonton Oilers playing Game 5 on home ice, you win. Now you get not only do you get days off, but you don't have to go and travel. And the Edmonton Oilers, I mean, if they play Vancouver, if they play Nashville, I mean, I think they'll be playing Vancouver. That's what it looks like. Although Nashville we knew that they'd be a tough opponent for the Vancouver Canucks. But you have to take advantage of it, and you can't just kind of rest. When I say rest, I use rest in a different way and think, oh, well, we got another game. Put them away when you can, as difficult as it is, because it will definitely benefit you. One thing I wanted to add real quick, what is home ice advantage in the NHL anymore? Is there such a thing? That's got to be the biggest oxymoron going in the NHL. Home ice advantage. Home teams don't win on home ice.
Well, Craig, and before we get to the main course and Oilers Kings, just going back to Colorado and Winnipeg, Colorado winning both those games too, and then going on the road and finishing it up 6-5, 6-5-6, the amount of goals scored by the Avalanche. Does this series and how it turned out, and the fact the Jets were flying in hot, right? Does this change at all your seeding when it comes to the West specifically in terms of what Colorado showed through that opening round? Or was this just the Jets, the goaltending, the team defense just falling asleep at the wrong time? Yeah. Well, that's just it. But where do you see Colorado? Does your opinion on the Avalanche change so much coming out of this series with Winnipeg?
Yeah, yeah, it does. Yeah, it has to. I think that's the beautiful thing about the playoffs. If you want to keep sticking to what you thought going into the playoffs, we got new information here. We got new opportunity to assess a team that's firing. Dustin, it was a collapse of epic proportions. The team that had the best goals against in the league this year with the best goaltender. You know what it reminded me of, guys? It reminded me of Jacob Markstrom and the Calgary Flames in 2022 versus the Edmonton Oilers. Because what people forget about that series, Mike Smith was terrible. And Markstrom said, "You want to see terrible? I will see you're terrible and double that." and who expected like I said after game one when he gave up 6, I said, well, this won't happen again. He gave up 24 goals. 24 goals in 5 games. I mean, they were a disaster. Their penalty killing was a disaster. I mean, you can't pick a worse time to have a 5-game straight. And even the game they won, they were a disaster. So when you look at it, and what I love, and I loved what Nathan McKinnon said post-game. He said, we came into this series humble. He said they beat us all 3 times. They'd scored 17 on us. We'd only scored 4 on them. Our goaltender was struggling. We didn't have a lot of confidence. So we knew we had to up our game. And Eric, they did up their game. And you give that team a chance on the power play, you better be really – and then they push the tempo of the game so high and so fast that they draw penalties and then they have enough skill. And they did it without Drouin. It'll be interesting to see if Drouin can get back in the lineup. But when you have players like maxing out and McKinnon and McCarr and Rantanen, and they're maxing out right now. I mean, and Georgiev seems to have found his game. So absolutely, you have to look at Colorado a little differently now.
As the Oilers,
and I do.
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably do. As the Oilers look to follow in their path here and wrap up a 5-game series win, how much can it deflate and demoralize a team, Craig, when you're the Kings, you outshoot the Oilers 34-13, and they basically beat you at your own game, and it's like the third different way that you've lost a game in this series?
Yeah, Corey Perry, I thought, nailed it. Corey Perry said, in the playoffs, you're going to have to find different ways to win. And, not everyone is going to be a game where it fits to your description, it fits to your strengths. But being able to kind of root in and dig in and find a way when you don't have your A game. I think to win in the playoffs, you have to find to win games when you don't have your A game. And I think any good team that's won the Stanley Cup, gone deep in the playoffs, has done exactly that. I think it's the benefit of having a Corey Perry as well. He's been through it. He understands it. And nobody has to be, oh, boy, what about it? Corey, you just got to find different ways to win sometimes. And that's exactly what they did. Stuart Skinner was terrific. Remember, coming off of game 2, Stuart didn't have a very good game. Everybody knew he didn't have a good game. The Oilers played a good game and didn't win because Stuart wasn't good. He goes down to L.A., gives up 1 goal, and he dug in and showed everybody, hey, I'm going to rebound too. I think it's really, really important. And the LA Kings, and I said this at the outset of the series, they were never going to threaten the Edmonton Oilers offensively. And you can get 33 shots. They might have had 63 that game and they weren't going to score. They just don't have enough firepower. And I don't hate to come back to it. The reality is the reality. Pierre-Luc Dubois, where is he? They can't even find him on milk cartons. That's how missing he is.
Craig Bunn with us on the show this morning. The Toronto Maple Leafs, they stay alive. Is it a good thing or a bad thing for the Leafs that the Bruins blew a 3-1 last year? Like, Boston doesn't let that happen again, do they?
I don't think so, but they did it a couple years ago. Toronto, Boston was up 3-1. They had to go and win Game 7, before they ended up dispatching the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're sitting here and you're watching, and everything that happens with the 2 losses in Toronto, and we were kind of, Paul Graham, the vice president of live events, and we were talking. We both said the same thing. You know what? The Maple Leafs will go and win in Boston. We'll go and win in Boston. They'll torture their fans. They'll torture the media. And it becomes kind of – and Joseph Wall played a really good game. They find a winning goal. I mean, it was a nice play by Tavares driving the net. Nyes was ready to take advantage. But you find a way – Toronto's interesting to me. Over the course of the year, they were without Marner for a long stretch. They were without Riley during his suspension, and they kept winning. Now they go in and they don't have Matthews, and they find a way to win. It's almost like the Toronto Maple Leafs, I don't want to say simplify their game, but it's almost like they pay more attention to detail. They don't play loose, and they find a way to dig in and win those types of games like they did versus Boston in Game 5. And, listen, you want to play with Austin. You want your best players in the lineup. I get it. But why can't they play that when they have a full complement of players in the lineup? That to me has become a big question. And that's a big question for me with respect to coaching. But like, you know what? This is the way we're going to play, and we're going to play like this all the time. The good coaches can dial that in with their group. I don't know if Sheldon can do that when he has his full complement of group, but he has to do it when he doesn't have it. So he's got the capability, but it's keeping your finger on the pulse.
We'll see how it plays out. It should be very interesting. Craig, we appreciate you joining us from overseas. And so is Paul Graham there with you? Is PG, he's overseas with you?
Oh, yeah. Okay. PG's here. Good. Yeah, for sure.
When you see him today, tell him to get me the CFL schedule so we can get booking some travel there. Pass that along to him.
Dustin, I will pass it along. But you, like every one of us and everything, when the hockey schedule's out, we're asking for the hockey schedule. The CFL schedule, you just want to know what your schedule's going to look like, right?
I'm like, come on.
The lacrosse schedule, everybody, we all get in line at different points of the season. Hey, PG, can you give us the schedule? Yeah. But I'll deliver your message.
All right, perfect.
You'll probably give me a little chuckle.
Okay, good. All right, man. Well, enjoy the rest of that tournament. We'll talk to you next week.